In part one of our chat, we left off talking about the mindset shift to start charging what we're worth. It is amazing how much work we need to do on that mindset and our history with money to make this gig work for us and to thrive in it. We do the work to do the work. But now Jazz and I are about to get into some incredible topics to help your business building endeavors, including marketing effectively when you have a number of offers to get out there, the magic of a small following, navigating rejection, creating a better relationship to self when dealing with those tough clients, planning your potential more effectively, and defining success through the impact you make. Let's get into it. I want to shift gears a little bit and compliment you first on your multi-pronged marketing, because you do have a number of offerings here, being that you are still a freelance designer to a number of great and lucky clients, but you also have this coaching and supporting and training program and platform that you offer as well. But you get yourself out there in a really consistent and authentic way. You have a breadth of resources, masterclasses. Like, it feels like it must be a lot to manage from the outset. As somebody who likes to analyze marketing a wee bit, I'm like, how the bloody hell does she know what to promote and when and how to make it feel like it's really clean and clear? How have you gotten some structure and consistency in what to create in terms of resources and what to promote and the marketing across your own platforms?
Oh, I love this question because it's the duck. It's the duck on the water, gliding across the water, but the feet are fanging it underneath. They are going crazy. I will say that the way that I decide what to promote next is two things. If I'm feeling it or experiencing it, then there's got to be someone out there that is, and I just put it out there. And two, I am incredibly blessed with a very small following, which is so oxymoron, but I am blessed with an incredibly small following of people that I know. I get to know almost every single person on my mailing list in some way, shape, or form, especially if they reply. Especially if they say, oh my goodness, this is exactly what I need right now. It's like you're reading my mind. And it happens. I put out an email every single Wednesday around a pricing tip or sharing a story that I'm going through at that moment, or being completely authentic as much as possible so that people can feel like they are experiencing the same thing as me, but also able to learn from my experiences as much as possible. So for instance, a couple of weeks ago, I shared with my email list that I walked into a client meeting about a job with so much confidence that everything was going to be great. And within a couple of minutes, my gut turned on and went, hey, we might be dealing with something a little bit different here. So we need to manage expectations. We need to readjust how we're feeling. And I had gone in there and I was like, okay, we're going to do this and this, and this is the great idea that I have. And this is the concept that I have for all of your marketing and da, 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 da. And I'd given them all of my genius, and they'd gone, yep, nope, yep. And so I had to accept rejection in that moment. And then I had to process it and kind of go, okay, how do you recover from this while still in the meeting? How do you readjust your own expectations of yourself? And then how do you take on the next steps? And without including blame, without including accusations, and without including emotion. And I shared that with a lot of people through my email list. And it was one of the ones that I got so many emails coming back being like, thank you for sharing this. Thank you for being honest. Thank you for giving us the things that we needed to know so that if we're ever in that situation, we can pause in our brains and go, what would Jazz do in this situation? She's already told us, and she shared with us exactly how she managed the expectations of the client. And instead of focusing on the hurt that definitely did come from being told, you know what, your brand strategy is completely wrong for us. We can see that we haven't given you enough, but we also think that we're not going to be paying for this, and managing the recoil that comes from that. And sharing that experience, and then waiting for feedback, asking questions from my freelance friends that I've developed of saying, hey guys, I'm thinking of this, or I'm experiencing that. So if I'm getting this right, because today the release date is the 6th of May, I'm currently presenting something that is the exact thing that I needed to do myself, which was updating my portfolio. My portfolio at time of recording is incredibly stale. It is pre-COVID times, has many things in there that I know that I could be updating, and it's costing me clients and cash because I'm too scared to send it to clients as examples of my genius. And so, today, as in the 6th, is kicking off a 3-week live course to not only have me update my portfolio, but to take you on the journey and update yours as well. So I kind of listen to my students, listen to what they need, share my experiences, and if they resonate, then that's a problem for me to solve and help them solve for themselves as well.
I love that you use the words small following in a positive. In a world where so many people, and I'm going to say it, so many people buy large followings, bots, I mean, we've all had them, right? We've all had those request folders where like spend 25, US dollars today and you'll get this number of followers. Like it is very possible to inflate numbers. There can be, yes, of course, people wouldn't do it if they didn't get benefit from it, right? So, potentially accounts are doing it and then there's other monetary benefits coming through. And absolutely no shame if you've chosen to do this, by the way, because I don't believe in shaming anybody for anything. But when we look out there and when we have that purpose of, I want to engage directly and I want to get market research directly. And I want to know that when I put out a new product or something, that those people that I put it out to, regardless of if it's 500 or 50,000 or whatever that number is, that you got a good percentage of those people that are actually engaged and connected with you. It's really healthy to use words like that, like small following, in a positive, because it is a positive. It is so much better. I mean, they say every successful business in content world, much like mine or anybody else's, just needs 1,000 fans to lift from. Like that's it, like 1,000 engaged individuals, and that can make you a multimillionaire because of what you do next. And focusing so much on large numbers and vanity metrics all the time and putting things out there and gaining, thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of followers. How does that benefit then understanding the person's problem? How does that benefit in creating something? How do you get feedback? That's valuable. It just becomes, a vanity game. And that's nice for a lot of reasons, but it's also not necessarily helpful if you're here trying to build a business. So I just wanted to congratulate you on that and be like, small is contextual, of course, for anybody, because I will say you do have a fantastic following on Instagram, and I'm sure you have a great mailing list. So small is contextual, but like it can be 100 engaged individuals can make or break your business depending what you're doing. So good on you for sharing that way. And I love that it's about investing in our people as well, understanding their problems and like being heavily engaged with it and just trusting that we can put things out there. And it's actually really healthy for me as your host here and just like a fairly like-minded individual to hear that you can approach your marketing in a way that it's what you're feeling is leading. I'm big in cultural insights and brand insights and all of those sorts of things as well. But sometimes you can lead from your personal instinct to go like, now was the right time for this resource. Now was the right time for this process. Now is the right time to share with my audience this thing that I'm thinking and feeling. And you can't always do that by sitting down at the beginning of the year and mapping it out quarter by quarter what you're going to talk about. That works for, big signpost things that you have to do, the big campaigns that you have to do, but sometimes it's in the moment. So yeah, I just really appreciate you sharing that. I think it's hugely interesting.
I truly do believe that if we're thinking that we're going to be available at some point, that is when we will be unavailable. That is when, like, if we say, okay, I'm going to get all my work done on the Wednesday, you will get sick on Tuesday. Every single time. And I, even with the Freelancers Pantry, I wanted to create and plan out a full year of masterclasses. And so I started that and planned that out from June last year all the way through to June this year. I will tell you right now that by the time I got to December, I was looking at those last 6 and I was like, that doesn't fit with me anymore. If I'm going to be launching the Master Freelancer in June to be starting in July, then I need to manage my energy leading up to that. And I also don't want to launch that way. I want to launch that way. So I can't plan how my energy is going to be spent. And then there's the other side of it of like, it's not just the freelancing stuff. The student stuff. I've still got my freelance business. And like I've just been booked for 6 weeks to do a paternity cover job. And I need to manage my own expectations of myself around that. because if I say yes to a 6-week job, that means that I need to deliver something that is a lower energy, but still meeting that value by the time that that rolls around. And that's a great thing because I now get to manage what I can control now for future freelance me, whatever that looks like, and however I decide to show up at that point in time.
So interesting. And it actually segues me beautifully into something I'd love your thoughts and experience on, which is that process of forecasting revenue and ensuring that you're being paid, your expenses are being covered, you're growing, and that ability to leave some space for, as you just described, a 6-week contract coming through for a project or a launch that doesn't go as well as you thought it would, so that you're pivoting into something else. Like how do you manage your financial forecasting in this world?
So at the start of this year, I believe, yeah, it would have been, I ran a masterclass called Finances for Freelancers. And it was the idea that if you don't plan to make money, you're planning to not make money. You're kind of leaving it up to chance. Now, I will not say that you're sitting there going, okay, I'm going to make 10K months every single month, and that is exactly what I'm going to do. And then by the end of it, I will have $120,000, and that will all be straight money because it's just services. Sweetheart, adjust your expenses, adjust your expectations. We cannot plan to be 100% of the time. And it sucks. It's annoying. As someone who is a high achiever, I want to be high achieving all of the time, but it's just not feasible. It's not capable. It's not possible. So we need to plan for that. So in that masterclass, I gave them a goal tracker of like, okay, how do we translate those pricing goals and those money goals for each month, or for however we're tracking it, whether it be over the year, whether it be over the quarter, and how do we allocate that to the offers that we have on the table or the things that we can do again and again. So whether we go back to an old client to seek out a new project, or whether we use something that is a example of success to a new client, how do we manage that? So taking your money goal for the year, say it's $100,000, and breaking it down not into 12, but into 10 as a money month goal, and then knowing that you're going to have 2 bad months. You are definitely going to have 2 bad months. I don't believe that we can wholeheartedly forecast exactly how much we're going to make, because then we leave no space for surprises. But I do believe that by creating something to aim for, to reach for, and knowing that that can change over time is one of the healthiest ways to do it. We need to accept that we're sometimes going to over, we're sometimes going to under, and sometimes we're going to hit it right in the center. But it's not about the money, it's about the moments. It's the moments that you then take those experiences and apply them to the next thing so that you can make more money next time, again and again and again.
Brilliant advice. And just taking more responsibility of our potential to earn and having that ability to marry together the planning with the space and the trust as well, and knowing that there are going to be things that change across the year, and there are going to be potentially resources that you might create that can be really valuable that you haven't thought of back then. But, being able to create that space and get your baseline right so that you can know where you can dial up and down, and surprises, like they do happen. Things come through. Hey, can you do this thing? And you're like, yes, I can actually. And it's not part of my traditional offering, but yes, I will do that. And that is a fantastic opportunity. Thank you.
Yes, I will do that for money. Thank you. I would love to do that for money. Can there be more money? Excellent. Great. Cool. Fantastic. And I love what you actually just said here. I'm going to switch host. I love what you just said there on the idea that you're giving that space for the shift of the things that you don't know yet that you're going to like, that you're going to experience. It's something that I explore in one of my challenges. It's a 5-day Raise Your Rate challenge, but it's looking at the skills that you can add with seasons of no and seasons of yes. So a season can be a month, a season can be 6 months, a season can be a year, of the things that you're letting in and saying yes to so that you can learn whether you like that experience. It's kind of like when a toddler's trying to work out what foods are and it really discovers that they really hate a particular food. You're going to discover that you hate particular jobs, particular clients, particular industries, and particular problems that are just not worth the solve. And conversely, you're going to find stuff that you absolutely love doing, that you love the idea of, you love the ability that you have developed to solve that problem for the next person and the next person. And sometimes it's allowed to be easy, and it's only easy because you've solved it before. And again, that's a value.
I want to get more personal. We talk a bit about money, a bit about marketing, all of the good stuff in business. But personally, through this process of building your multiple businesses, 15 years-ish, you've now been in this game. How have you changed as a person through the process?
Ooh, that's so good. I think I've re-established my place in my own priorities, because for so long, it was, what can I do for everyone else? What can I do for you? What can I create for you? What can I do to earn money constantly, consistently? It's that time to lean, time to clean mentality, but done as like time to lean, time to earn. So am I going to be pissing off future freelance me by taking an afternoon off? Am I going to be letting myself down in future if I don't do the thing today? And I can tell you right now that I don't think that there's a single day that I've looked back and gone, Jesus, past Jazz was a bitch to me here. Why didn't she sort out this Excel spreadsheet? Like, no, it's an adjustment of expectation, I think, both of myself. And I also believe, and this is something that I'm really working out quite deeply at the moment, but also have been incrementally for the last 6 months, is like the expectations of myself, others will fall short of. And it's then my responsibility to decide whether that becomes a problem of my own or whether I let it go. Completely transparently, I have a client of mine at the moment who I am giving all of my genius to, and they are fighting me every step of the way to either own ideas, to own how I price, to own how I work. And I find myself frustrated because I have to lower my standards and expectations to meet theirs. And it's then a conversation that I have to have with myself of, is this the kind of energy that I would let in myself and I would spend time on to try and fix? Because not all client problems are my problems to solve, including budgetary ones. If I need to lower myself so much that it lowers my own quality standard, then I need to let that go. And that is not something that a earlier Jazz would have done. An earlier Jazz would have sat there and gone, but they're paying you. But if you don't help them, who will? But if you don't give them what they need, they're either going to go and find someone else, and that's really hard for them, or they're going to be disappointed with you. I'm okay with disappointment in that because I'm disappointed in some of my clients too.
It's so legit. Just that you can't, we're not always impressed with those we work with. So how can we assume that they're always going to be impressed with us? It's a very healthy approach. It sounds like you've learned a little bit of reduction in client scarcity too. Is that fair to say? I mean, I think so many of us think, are there going to be enough clients out there for me to find, to facilitate the kind of earnings I want to have? It sounds like you've gotten comfortable knowing there will always be another client.
There will always be another client. There will always be another client, another opportunity, another problem, and another day that provides a new problem for the same client. The new client is all well and good, but the same client with a new problem who already knows that you're a genius is going to be more willing to part with their cash because they've already experienced it.
And this is time, isn't it? This is just time and skin in the game and creating great work for people and learning as you go to be able to get that in. I mean, it never ceases to amaze me how much your network can show up for you in the most random of ways just through the process of working with people 15 years ago. And then, do you know what? That person's going to be really good for this thing that we need. I know because I've seen her work in this other way, or I've seen him work in this other format. And there's a lot to be said for that.
Absolutely. It's kind of astounding when your relationships resurface. Like there's good versions and there's bad versions, and you need to know which ones you're not really going to be available for. I mean, I've had a guy who I went on a terrible date with in my 20s come back and ask for a free logo. Like, you're not going to really say yes to that. I wish I wish I was joking with that sentence, but it is absolutely 100% legit. He was doing a lawn care business, and I was like, bro, no. But, it's those ones that come out of the woodwork, but they come back because of the experience, not because of the work. And remembering that is something really important. They come back because it's you. They come back because what they experienced was your genius served on a silver platter that helped them make money in their business, and they're hungry again. You eat 3 times a day, unless you're intermittent fasting or whatever it is, but you still are going to eat at least once a day. Your clients need to feast on your genius again and again and again to be able to make money from it. And you're allowed to make money in the process too.
So where do you hope to see your business grow to through this process of everything that you're offering out into the world and all that's coming back from it, from your clients directly in freelancing through to those you share your insights with who are in similar same fields and through the teachings? Where do you want to see yours grow to?
Recently, I had to travel home to spend time with my family to say goodbye to my grandmother. This was only a couple of weeks ago. But thank you, through that experience, I got to reconnect with my cousins. And now my cousins live in the same state. They live like half an hour, 40 minutes away. But because we're all together, we're all able to talk and share and just share experiences. And my cousin Ali was talking to me about what she's doing, what she's creating, and they're looking at like businesses and stuff like that. And she asked me, what's your 5-year plan? Where do you want to be in 5 years? What do you want to change? And I honestly said to her, nothing. I'm exactly where I want to be. I've reached where I want to be. I just want more of this. It's like finding your dopamine food and just being like, I'm just going to keep coming back for more of this. I'm going to keep coming back to experiences like this week doing a 90-minute noodle session with a student and finding that nugget of where her genius connects with her audience through her messaging and positioning. I want to keep having interactions with co-working catch-up sessions within my freelancers pantry. I want to keep having opportunities to help freelancers make more money easier, faster, and more creatively, and just as creative as the work they're putting out in whatever shape or form that takes. Right now, I have on the horizon podcast stuff, on the horizon my book, on the horizon whoever knows what else. I've got no idea what else is coming. But what I know is my success is not going to be defined by that book being published, that podcast being out there, that speaking gig, whatever it is. It's going to be defined by the success of the freelancers that I help and the fact that they have more confidence to be more valuable to their clients because I played a small part in that outcome.
I absolutely love this and could accidentally pun here, but I could dine out all day on this approach because as you get a little bit more established in certain places and you start to see a few things come through, it is just like, okay, I can actually take the pressure off a little bit and know that it is not the goal that I'm getting to. It's all the little bits that are adding up along the way. And it's the ability to have people pop up into your emails and say, you have really helped me in this way. And that explicit value, kind of streaming through what you're doing every single day, it becomes just kind of implicit in what you're doing. You're just like, I just feel like I'm providing value. This is fantastic. And I just want to be able to do more of that. I really resonate with that feeling because that's kind of where I've gotten to with this podcast. Like, I mentioned this on a solo episode I did recently where I found out third hand through a person that I had interviewed previously that somebody had messaged them and said, because of your interview, I have now decided to back myself and I'm starting my own business. And I'm like, oh, what? Like, that is value. Like,
me?
I did that. Like, yes, go girl. Like, yes, let's get 100,000 more at least businesses starting and staying in business. And like, it takes time, but yeah, reframing and being able to provide a different or a deeper sense of value to others is just so wonderful. So I'd love to hear it. And I do love all of that you're offering out there. I think it's just so wonderful. Anything that we can do to help other people grow in their own businesses is just so exciting. So good on you. But how can we support you? What can we do for you to help you doing more of the good stuff?
More of the good stuff looks like, funnily enough, me helping you. So if you are a listener who has sat there and gone, I don't know how to price, or you're unsure that your pricing is serving you, and I'm not just saying serving this week's grocery bill or this month's rent. I'm talking about future freelance you who has a client coming back and saying, hey, can you do that job for me again? And you now have to charge the same amount that you did last time. Well, how about we give you a raise before you send that off? There's a few different ways that you can dine on the many wares that I have served up. If you are someone who is craving community, come and join us in the Freelancers Pantry, which is creativebusinesskitchen.com/pantry. Or if you're someone who's wanting to access a calculator to work out exactly what you should be charging, that's there too. There's all these different ways that I've served up so far, and there will be more ways coming in the future. But for now, if you're wanting to access some of the stuff that I've talked about on this episode, as well as a whole heap of other both free and paid resources, you can head to creativebusinesskitchen.com/afraid. That's right. I got you a personalized page.
I've got a
yeah, buddy.
page. I love it.
And finally, if you're just wanting a pricing pep talk or a chat, DM me, your pricing queen on Instagram. I am always on there.
Amen to always being online. Yay to having a page. Unemployed and Afraid listeners, you'll know how much we love you. So that is very cool that we can keep continuing this cycle and supporting each other all through this process. So I'll make sure to have the links to all of those things in the show notes as per usual. You know where I put them. Go check them out. Get around Jazz and drop into her DMs where, yes, likewise, there's this actually funny thing that I probably would have posted by the time we release this episode, but dropping into Jazz's DMs while she was listening to an episode of the show. So we all spend too much time on Instagram, let's be honest. So that was one of my favorite moments of late. But I'll make sure to have all of those assets for the listener to get around you. And just want to say a huge thank you to you for all that you do, for offering your insights so wisely and so broadly, and for always believing in yourself to create cool new resources to put out there, because those of us who do that, who put ourselves out there, pave the way and show the way to others to do the same. So good on you. And it's been a pleasure to have you on the show today. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me. It was an absolute treat.
Thank you for listening to Unemployed and Afraid, the podcast for small business builders with your host, me, Kim Curtin. If you love it, you can say thanks with a star rating and a review. And of course, join the community on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Find us at Unemployed and Afraid wherever you're hanging out, and I'll see you there.